The theme is
just get started.
just get started.
Whatever just getting started means to you.
What?
You have to set up a bunch of stuff ahead of time.
Just
and
get
then you
started.
start it off and
Just get started. Just get started? Just get started? Just get started? I don't know.
And for those of you that don't know, a game jam is basically a game-making marathon. And the game jam is the thing that I'm participating in for this video, specifically the inbound shovel jam. And for this game jam, I ended up making this silly little platformer called Snap Freeze. A 3D platformer where you traverse a freezing landscape, slowly trying to gain your movement abilities back by seeking warmth from bonfires that you start along the way. To put it simply, you gain an extra jump in the air for each bonfire you fully set ablaze. But that's not the point of why I joined this game jam. I joined this game jam to answer the following question. What does it take to fully create a 3D game character from conceptualization to implementation? You see, for the past few months, I've been learning to get better at art, both 2D and 3D. It's hard to gauge how good you've gotten just learning. At some point, you want to get into a project and see how you can apply what you've learned, and the game jam felt like the perfect kickstart to figuring out where my skill level is. You could say I really just needed to
Just get started? I don't know.
There's a few things that you need to know before we get to actually making our 3D character. Game Jam starts off with the reveal of a theme. In this case, it's Just Get Started. And the idea we come up with dictates the design of the character that we're going to make. Since our goal isn't to compete for placings, I decided to keep the idea simple. As mentioned earlier, the idea of our game has us set in a freezing landscape where you encounter bonfires along the way that will give you movement abilities to tackle increasingly difficult obstacles as you progress through the game. So the first few days of the jam was spent setting up the soil with which our little protagonist will grow from. We went through installing Godot,
Download Godot engine.
learning how to export a WebGL build,
If this plays well, I'll be happy. Oh, okay.
and consequently learning that you should probably create your project in compatibility renderer from the get-go
That's a lot better.
if that's what you plan to do.
Okay, so compatibility is perfectly fine.
Going through a ton of tutorials on how to use Godot, leaving myself with a base 3D character controller that at least has camera controls, basic movement, some jumps, and velocity-based mesh rotation, and getting distracted by my dogs.
The dogs! Yo, the dogs! Okay, wait. They have been let out.
After that, you'll see me doing some quick tests on how the world environment node works in Godot, in tandem with quite a bit of grayboxing to set up a sense of scale for our being to live in.
There should be a bonfire there as you look into the distance.
I've pinpointed 3 things that I feel like are essential in designing our character. The first is the setting. We know our character will be placed in an extremely cold environment. Second, we're making a 3D platformer. It's important to note that all of the animations, the silhouettes of the character needs to play into that. And third, it's still a game jam. We're very much time bound. And the scope of the character in terms of what we need to design, what we need to model, texture, rig, and animate needs to be feasible in a realistic amount of time. As any great designer would advise, it's important to always start from reference.
Figure out the color palette as well. Something simple.
I started off trying to figure out what kind of proportions I was going to do. Initially, I tried something a bit more regular, but opted to go more chibified, kinda based off of Vivi from Final Fantasy IX. You might notice that the cloak here covers the arms of the character. This is intentional in order to minimize how much needs to be animated and modeled eventually. I tried a few different headgear options for the character, but ended up sticking with the beanie. It just looked cuter. In terms of colors, I didn't really go crazy and I didn't bother experimenting at all. I stuck to a simple red, white, and blue, blue and white to ground it in the setting, then red as a striking color on the big boots and as an accent on the beanie. I ended up doing this pattern thing on the beanie to help add a little bit of visual interest on the back of the character, since in a 3D platformer, the back of the character is what we're going to be looking at most of the time.
Alright, we'll just go with that. Move forward. Stop overthinking it. Blender time. Blender time. Alright, I have live split ready. Time for a quick Blender speedrun. Woo! Start. Okay. Oh no, I messed up already. I couldn't even delete the cube, camera, and light. Wow, it's over. I'm washed. There it is, the character design. Massive.
Modeling went fairly smoothly. You'll see here that I initially started modeling with a subdivision surface modifier on. I end up dropping this eventually. It just makes more sense to go full on low poly and blocky, especially since I intend to texture it at a lower resolution. And speaking of texturing, I haven't actually used Blender's UV mapping and texturing tools before. I had to watch some tutorials to get a gist of how it all works, and thankfully,
Alright, that's enough, that's enough.
we got by fairly well.
Oh, and time! 6 hours and a half just to model and texture, including tutorials, and including dinner time and breaks in between. We'll stop now. Oh wait, no, wait. And time. Good enough. I hit pause. I didn't hit end, but that's fine. Hello. All right. Day is a new day, and we're gonna continue with the model. Gonna be rigging, then animating. We'll see how that goes. Gonna try to use Auto Rig Pro.
A new day begins and the grind continues. I use the plugin Auto Rig Pro to rig our character. After running the model through the rigging plugin, there was still quite a bit of post-processing that I had to go through with regards to weight painting. I have since learned how to create rigs without the help of a plugin, and I probably would have preferred to do that here, but hey, you learn things as you go. Right after rigging, I jumped into animating our character. In this case, we'll need the following things: an idle animation, a walk cycle, a falling in the air cycle, a run cycle, a jump animation, and I also opted to make a unique double jump animation. While I have made animations before, I've never actually tried importing any character animations into Godot. So after doing some of the basic ones, I tested importing it into my character controller. After setting up my animation tree, there was a glaring issue here. There was a mismatch in the speed of the character controller and the speed of the animation, as well as an overall jankiness as to how the model responds whenever I press any buttons. This means I'll need to do quite a bit of tweaking on both Blender and Godot to get the feel a bit better. So I went through the rest of the animations, the running, jumping, and double jumping, and ended up importing it all into the game.
Okay. Jumps a bit slow. Oh, emit doesn't override. Interesting.
After quite a bit of embellishing through code and the animation tree, I got something that at least feels somewhat good
That's
to
kinda
play
cool,
around
kinda
with.
like that. Let's see what happens. It's probably not gonna work. Don't worry about it. It's fine. That's worrying. I think it works. It works. Yo. Pretty snappy though. I kind of like it. Oh, we're moving with it. Oh. Oh, baby. Wait a minute. Look at him go. Wait, we're kind of moving, though. It's a bit slippery, the controls, actually.
With their character mostly finished and a lot of lessons learned, I'm here to learn another lesson. A lesson that I should be very much well aware of at this point. I tried to scope down as much as I can, but I failed to take into account how much time learning actually takes. From Godot tutorials to Blender tutorials, I tried to speedrun designing levels with what little mechanics I actually have, with what little time I have remaining in terms of the jam. I've never actually made any levels or have done any level design for 3D platformers before, so I'm bashing my head against the wall trying to see what works. At first, the levels I made were too big, so I shrunk them down bit by bit until it feels a bit better. I used this single procedural material of snow that goes on top of a cube of like stuff that's, if it's pointing up, it goes on top of the cube, and I used it on all of the levels, literally everything. I had no idea what kind of levels I really wanted to make on top of all of the other stuff that I still have to work on. I forgot I haven't actually implemented how to start bonfires. So screw it, the bonfire is already started, and you pick up these prisms that's supposed to stand in for firewood, and you throw it at the bonfire until the number goes up, and you fill up the number, and the bonfire is fully started, and you get your movement ability, which is just another jump. Right, you can also fall off the map and you would have nothing to allow you to continue playing. So I made a quick and dirty respawn system that spawns you at the nearest respawn point, which you have to manually place, but that's fine. And the firewood can also fall off the map. I gotta set up a respawn system for those as well. In fact, I actually failed to put like respawn zones for the firewood at the game that I submitted for the jam. So you can throw off the firewood and it wouldn't respawn, and you'd get your bone, like you're screwed. It's a soft lock and you can't do anything about it. And that's in the final version of the game. Some snow would also be nice, right? So I added like VFX of slowly falling snow, but I don't want to place it over the whole level. It might slow down on a WebGL build or something. So I attached it to the player, and you just like, as you walk around, like you see the snow like falling in front of you or around you. So that kind of works, right? That's fine, that's clever, I think that's okay. And finally, the last segment of the game that actually looks somewhat decent and is probably the only mechanically interesting part of the game, where you jump off, you try to time the cooldowns of the double jumps that you've gained so you can cross like a really large gap. It's kind of neat. It's not great. It's not great by any means, but it's neat. It's there. It's fun. So as we slowly approach the end of the jam, I resign myself to not being able to work on SFX or then better VFX, then better levels. Game jams are tough. I ruined my beautiful sleep schedule for this, but honestly, I'm still kind of glad I did it. I got to play a lot of cool games from the jam, and this really invigorated my enjoyment of our silly little medium of art called game development. I learned a lot and got to actually make a full-on 3D platformer character. If I didn't join this jam with this in mind, it would have probably taken quite a few more months before I got to this. And as janky as it ended up being, I know younger me, playing Crash Bandicoot or Mario 64 would be astounded. Knowing this, I feel excited to keep on making things, and I feel really excited to keep on learning a lot of cool stuff. There's so much to learn, and I think it's only a great thing that there is so much to learn. So we kind of just keep on grinding, right?
Gamers, oh my god, 8x operative. First and last letter, vowels. 3 unique vowels. No 2 consonants in a row. Come on! Oh! Big!
Big money.
Oh! Wait, what?
37, 154, 616.
Oh! Massive!